Thank you very much. I don't deserve this applause. I'm only as good as the people around me, including yourself. And since we are here in Poland, a lot of what is happening here goes back to the work of Dr. Niedzwiecki, who has been fighting this battle with me for the last 2 decades. And I told her many times that one day her name will be ranking in this country at the side of Maria Sverdlovska and other scientists for saving millions of lives. So, a lot of things have already been stated tonight about health, about the political context. My role in the next 40 minutes will be to talk about the philosophical picture. This meeting takes place at a very crucial point of history. It's about life. It's about life as the very essence of our being. I will not be able to explain all the details of what needs to be said, so I'm encouraging you to fill out the request for the DVD. We will put the presentations of tonight online, so you will be able to watch them. So if some of the slides are too fast, you have the possibility to see them again and study them again in detail. Why movement of life? Why are we urging you to start this movement of life in Poland? Why will we be urging the people in Romania to start a similar movement in 10 days and in other countries later on? Well, I've divided my presentation into 7 chapters. And I hope I will be able to answer that question. Why now? Why we? Why you? The first chapter is we need to reflect about the very fundamental forces that brought us here today. Not 10 years ago, not 100 years ago, but thousands of generations ago. The forces of life created the environment where we live. This is the only planet in the universe where there's an atmosphere for life, as far as we know. The forces of life created life on this planet. The forces of life created human beings, us on this planet. The forces of life created the plants we eat and we need for our bodies functioning. The forces of life created the ingredients of these plants that are necessary for our life and our well-being and our health. Namely, vitamins, minerals, and other bioactive plant ingredients, which we call phytobiologicals. Chapter 2. Forces of human dignity. For more than 1,000 years, people in Poland didn't exist at that time. People in Europe didn't exist as a continent at that time. We're living in complete illiteracy. In fact, the only difference from the animals on their farms was that they were walking upright on 2 legs. Because they couldn't read and write, they could not participate in life. They could not contribute. They could not learn. They could not develop humanity. And because of this illiteracy, all sectors of society were essentially closed off for them, with devastating consequences. Epidemics haunted Europe and the rest of the world, for that matter, again and again. And millions of people died from these epidemics because there was no knowledge of how these epidemics came about. Then this happened. During the 16th century, the printing press was invented. Suddenly, books could be printed in the spoken language. Within 1 century, the majority of people, of common people, of people like you and me, could learn to read and write, could participate. Did the rulers give this knowledge to them voluntarily? Did they say, great that you do that? Of course not. Knowledge is power. And those up there, they never share power voluntarily. Not then and not today. So what happened was people themselves took the right. They said, we want to become human beings. We want to learn to read and write. We want to live, participate, build. The result was an alphabetization campaign of thus far unprecedented proportions. Across Europe, universities and schools were built, in every village, every town. Later on, this wave spread across the Atlantic Ocean and the entire world. And over time, all areas of society benefited from knowledge. Epidemics were no longer the fate of heaven, or a curse, or a random event. Louis Pasteur discovered that epidemics are caused by tiny little microorganisms. And of course, him and his colleagues were responsible that these infectious diseases, many of them at least, became controllable. Knowledge was also a driving force for ending dictatorships, medieval autocracy. The people said, we want to determine our future. We are responsible for our lives. We want to participate. The French Revolution came, 1789. Here you see the picture of the Polish Constitution, the first one in 1791. All of that goes back to education. Education became the purpose and the basis of founding schools and creating more education for propelling science, commerce, trade, and of course, culture and politics. In fact, every area of society was advanced by the participation of the common people.